Start with Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Let's do some Radha Jap. Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha. We are reading Bhagwat Geeta as it is by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of International Society of Krishna Consciousness. We are in chapter 13, text 31. When a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere, he attains to the Brahman conception. Let's read the purport. When one can see that the various bodies of living entities arise due to the different desires of the individual soul and do not actually belong to the soul itself, one actually sees. In the material conception of life, we find someone a demigod, someone a human being, a dog, a cat, etc. This is material vision, yes, not actual vision. This material differentiation is due to a material conception of life. After the destruction of the material body, the spirit soul is one. The spirit soul, due to contact with material nature, gets different types of bodies. When one can see this, he attains spiritual vision, thus being freed from differentiations like man, animal, big, low, etc. One becomes purified in his consciousness and able to develop Krishna consciousness in his spiritual identity. How he then sees things will be explained in the next verse. Let's move to text 32. Those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjun, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. Let's read the purport. A living entity appears to be born because of the birth of the material body, but actually, the living entity is eternal. He is not born, and in spite of his being situated in a material body, he is transcendental and eternal. Thus, he cannot be destroyed. By nature, he is full of bliss. He does not engage himself in any material activities. Therefore, the activities performed due to his contact with material bodies do not entangle him. Let's move to text 33. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Wow, beautiful. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, though situated in that body. Yes. Let's read the purport. The air enters into water, mud, stool, and whatever else is there. Still, it does not mix with anything. Similarly, the living entity, even though situated in varieties of body, is aloof from them due to his subtle nature. Therefore, it is impossible to see with the material eyes how the living entity is in contact with this body and how he is out of it after the destruction of the body. No one in science can ascertain this. Yes. Let's move to text 34. O son of Bharat, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminates the entire body by consciousness. Let's read the purport. There are various theories regarding consciousness. Here in Bhagwat Geeta, the example of the sun and the sunshine is given. As the sun is situated in one place but is illuminating the whole universe, so a small particle of spirit soul, although situated in the heart of this body, is illuminating the whole body by consciousness. Thus, consciousness is the proof of the presence of the soul, as sunshine or light is the proof of the presence of the sun. When the soul is present in the body, there is consciousness all over the body. And as soon as the soul has passed from the body, there is no more consciousness. This can be easily understood by any intelligent man. Therefore, consciousness is not a product of the combinations of matter. It is a symptom of the living entity. The consciousness of the living entity, although quantitatively one with the supreme consciousness, is not supreme because the consciousness of one particular body does not share that of another body. But the super soul, which is situated in all bodies as the friend of the individual soul, is conscious of all bodies. That is the difference between supreme consciousness and individual consciousness. Yes. But with help of consciousness only we can reach supreme consciousness. At least we can deliver supreme consciousness. Yeah. Let's move to text 35. Those who see with eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in material nature attain to the supreme goal. Let's read the purport. The purport of this 13th chapter is that one should know the distinction between the body, the owner of the body, and the super soul. One should recognize the process of liberation as described in verses 8 through 12. Then one can go on to the supreme destination. The faithful person should at first have some good association to hear of God and thus gradually become enlightened. If one accepts a spiritual master, one can learn to distinguish between matter and spirit, and that becomes the stepping stone for further spiritual realization. A spiritual master, by various instructions, teaches his students to get free from the material concept of life. For instance, in Bhagwat Geeta, we find Krishna instructing Arjun to free from to free him from materialistic considerations. One can understand that this body is matter. It can be analyzed with its 24 elements. The body is the gross manifestation, and the subtle manifestation is the mind and the psychological effects. And the symptoms of life are the interaction of these features. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But over and above this, there is the soul, and there is also the super soul. The soul and the super soul are two. This material world is working by the conjunction of the soul and the 24 material elements. So it becomes 25. One who can see the constitution of the whole material manifestation as this combination of the soul and material elements, and can also see the situation of the Supreme Soul, becomes eligible for transfer to the spiritual world. These things are meant for contemplation and for realization, and one should have a complete understanding of this chapter with help of the spiritual master. Thus end the Bhagwat Gita purports to the 13th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of nature, the enjoyer, and consciousness. Yes. Let's move to chapter 14. Yes, the three modes of material nature. Wow. Text 1. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, again I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection. Let's read the purport. From the 7th chapter to the end of the 12th chapter, Sri Krishna in detail reveals the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, the Lord Himself is further enlightening Arjun. If one understands this chapter through the process of philosophical speculation, he will come to an understanding of devotional service. In the 13th chapter, it was clearly explained that by humbly developing knowledge, one may possibly be freed from material entanglement. It has also been explained that it is due to association with the modes of nature that the living entity is entangled in this material world. And now, in this chapter, the Supreme Personality explains what those modes of nature are, how they act, and how they bind, and how they give liberation. The knowledge explained in this chapter is proclaimed by the Supreme Lord to be superior to knowledge given so far in other chapters. By understanding this knowledge, various great sages attained perfection and transferred to the spiritual world. The Lord now explains the same knowledge in a better way. This knowledge is far, far superior to all other processes of knowledge thus far explained, and knowing this, many attained perfection. Thus, it is expected that one who understands this 14th chapter will attain perfection. Let's move to text 2. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. Let's read the purport. After acquiring perfect transcendental knowledge, one acquires qualitative equality with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, becoming free from the repetition of birth and death. One does not, however, lose his identity as an individual soul. It is understood from Vedic literature that the liberated souls who have reached the transcendental planets of the spiritual sky always look to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, being engaged in his transcendental loving service. So even after liberation, the devotees do not lose their individual identities. Generally, in the material world, whatever knowledge we get is contaminated by three modes of material nature. Knowledge which is not contaminated by the three modes of nature is called transcendental knowledge. As soon as one is situated in that transcendental knowledge, he is on the same platform as the Supreme Person. Those who have no knowledge of the spiritual sky hold that after being freed from the material activities of the material form, this spiritual identity becomes formless without any variegatedness. Let me read this again. Those who have no knowledge of the spiritual sky hold that after being freed from the material activities of the material form, this spiritual identity becomes formless, that is, without any variegatedness. However, just as there is material variegatedness in this world, in the spiritual world, there is also variegatedness. What is variegatedness? Let me just check for you. Uh, ask what is variegatedness? Variegatedness refers to the quality of being marked with different colors or patterns. It is commonly used in botany to describe plants that have leaves, petals, or other parts with two or more colors, such as variegated plants. Okay. So variegatedness means uh, different types of bodies and different colors. Like, okay. Even spiritual world has variegatedness. Those in ignorance of this think that spiritual existence is opposed to material variety. But actually, in the spiritual sky, one attains a spiritual form. There are spiritual activities, and the spiritual situation is called devotional life. That atmosphere is said to be uncontaminated, and there one is equal in quantity with the Supreme Lord. I'll read that again. That atmosphere is said to be uncontaminated, and there one is equal in quality with the Supreme Lord. To obtain such knowledge, one must develop all the spiritual qualities. One who thus develops the spiritual qualities is not affected either by the creation or by the destruction of the material world. Let's move to text 3. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharat. Let's read the purport. This is an explanation of the world. Everything that takes place is due to the combination of Kshetra and Kshetrajna, the body and the spirit soul. This combination of material nature and the living entity is made possible by the God Himself. The Mahat Tattva is the total cause of the total cosmic manifestation, and that total substance of the material cause, in which there are three modes of nature, is sometimes called Brahman. The Supreme Personality impregnates that total substance, and thus innumerable universes become possible. This total material substance, the Mahatattva, is described as Brahman in the Vedic literature, Mundaka Upanishad as we know. The Supreme Person impregnates that Brahman with seeds of living entities. The 24 elements, beginning from earth, water, fire, and air, are all the material energy that they constitute what is called Mahad Brahma or the Great Brahman, the material nature. As explained in the seventh chapter, beyond this there is another superior nature, the living entity. Into material nature, the superior nature is mixed by the will of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thereafter all living entities are born of this material nature. The scorpion lays its eggs in piles of rice, and sometimes it is said that scorpion is born out of rice. But the rice is not the cause of the scorpion. Actually, the eggs were laid by the mother. Similarly, material nature is not the cause of the birth of the living entities. The seed is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they only seem to come out as products of material nature. Yes. So basically, he puts the seed when it's the nature of the seed. When it starts growing, it starts picking up everything which is surrounding it so that it can blossom. So it starts, since it is in the material nature, it will start picking all material things, that is those 24 elements. And then finally, he puts the living entity in that seed. Wow. Thus, every living entity, according to these past activities, has a different body created by this material nature so that the entity can enjoy or suffer according to his past deeds. The Lord is the cause of all the manifestations of the living entities in this material world. Yes. Let's move. Okay. I think let's finish text 4 and then we will close the session. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed giver father. Let's read the purport. In this verse, it is clearly explained that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the original father of all living entities. The living entities are combinations of the material nature and the spiritual nature. Such living entities are seen not only on this planet but on on every planet, even on the highest where Brahma is situated. Everywhere there are living entities. Within the earth, there are living entities. Even within water and within fire, all these appearances are due to the mother, material nature, and Krishna's seed giving process. The purport is that the material world is impregnated with living entities who come out in various forms at the time of creation according to their past deeds. Yes, we will read from text by tomorrow. Let's end with Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Let's do some Radha Jap. Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha.